Well, hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Amazing Seller Podcast. This is episode number 431, and today we're going to be talking about the proven plan to win customers for life and help grow your business forever. Forever, that's right. And I'm really going to be diving into things that I have learned along the way, but also most recently by some of these experiences that I've had in my life. Whether it's putting in the new pool or whether it's going to have emergency surgery for my dog Brody. And if you guys did not hear that, or if you haven't read that in an email that I sent out, or maybe on my Instagram or Facebook, I just wanted to kind of give you a little update there. We had a pretty big scare with my dog Brody. We thought he was having seizures, and come to find out, he was actually having severe neck and back pain, and it would literally go into which looked like a seizure, and we panicked. And I'll give you guys the whole story because it actually led me to want to do this podcast, because it taught me, not just in that experience, also we're building a pool, and I've got a lot of different things going on there. So I'm dealing with companies, and I am the customer, but I'm dealing with all these different things. And it really comes down to figuring out how you can win customers. And in this case, I'm being the customer, and I'm going to explain to you why it's so important to do some of the things that one of these companies did, and then what not to do from another company. And I'm going to just break it down for you guys because I think it's really, really important. Just to let you guys know, yes, Brody is fine. He's actually, I see him right now. He's laying down, resting. He went into emergency surgery to have a ruptured disc fixed. And again, I'll tell you guys about that entire story and why it's a lesson to be learned here in business, because I am a customer for life for one of the companies that helped me in that issue. One of them, not so much. And I'll kind of explain that. Before we do jump into all of that stuff, which I've got a whole list here of stuff that I want to cover here, a couple stories I want to share with you. And I do believe that if you take these lessons and you apply them to your business, I'm telling you, you will separate yourself from the competition. Like, so many people are not willing to do this, and I'll explain why. A lot of times because they're afraid. But if you implement these things, which are so simple to do, and it doesn't take anything other than setting up a process and then just creating some type of flow for your business, you can really, really change the way that your business is growing, and also how people help you grow your company. All right. But before we jump into that, I wanted to remind you about the show notes, theamazingseller.com/431. Transcripts, show notes can all be found there. And the other thing is, I want to announce something here. We just recently started to offer our on-demand workshops. What does that mean? Well, for the longest time, we were only doing them live workshops, that is. And that's where we take you through the entire process of launching a product, from picking a product, sourcing a product, doing a launch, doing promotions, all of that stuff. We do that inside of that workshop. I had so many people say that they could not attend. The hours didn't work right for them, or different time zones, all of that stuff, people from around the world. So we decided to take one of our top workshops and make it available on demand. And you can register for that, or pick a date that works for you now, by heading over to theamazingseller.com/workshop. Now, keep this in mind. If we are doing an upcoming live one, you can just go to that same link and you'll see the live one that we're doing, if we're doing a live one. If not, you're going to see the on-demand workshop there, and you can pick a date and you can go ahead and watch that. And really just doing this because a lot of people, like I said, email me and say, Scott, darn it, I missed it. I wanted to see it at this time, and I know you offered a replay for a short time, but I wanted to be able to go through that workshop. So now we've made it so you can actually go and select a time, a date, and you can go ahead and watch it at your convenience and attend, and actually also go through that live Q&A that we did, and really learn from all of those questions that we receive during those live sessions. So we do have live ones that we're still doing, but we also have the on-demand, and those are there for you to be able to go through and enjoy and be able to take action now. Because I'm always talking about taking action, but I don't want to make you wait 2 weeks or a month for our next workshop. So that's why we're doing it. And hopefully you guys are going to go check that out and get a ton of value. All right. So theamazingseller.com/workshop. Go check it out. All right. So let's dive into some of these stories that I want to share with you. And these stories to me are so valuable because I'm going to break down exactly what happened, but then also we'll get some takeaways here. So let me just dive right into the pool story. All right. So my wife and I decided to do an in-ground pool. We never thought that we were going to do this, but we kind of wanted to, but we're just like, I don't know if we want to. And we're not even sure if our yard would allow it and all of that stuff. So long story short, we talked about it and we said, you know what, let's do it. We think that we're going to be here for a good while, and let's just go ahead and do a pool. Like, let's do an in-ground pool, and let's just start that process. So we started the process. We had to go through a bunch of legal stuff as far as with our HOA and are they going to approve it? We're not able to put it in our backyard. We got to put it on our side yard and all of that stuff. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all those details, but we finally got the green light. And they said, yeah, no problem. Go ahead and do it. This is what you have to do, though. You got to put a fence up in front of it. And of course, you got to put it around it. You got to put in front of it with some shrubs so it kind of blocks it from the road, whatever. We'll take care of that. No problem. So we start contacting pool companies. Well, I soon found out that you would call pool companies and you wouldn't get a call back, or you wouldn't get to talk to someone. You would get maybe a secretary, but then you would never hear back. So that's rule number one. You have to contact people back, or you need to pick up the phone. All right. Another little side story here is I was looking to get my driveway done. I wanted to get not redone, but I wanted to get it like pressure washed. I couldn't get a hold of a pressure washing guy. I called people that were running ads in these coupon books for like $800. I know how much they cost. $800, $1,000, $1,200 for a full page. And I would call and I would get an answering machine, or I would get nothing. I would get zip. I'd get almost sound like a fax number. So it just blows me away that people aren't answering their phone. So number one, answer your phone, answer your emails, like period. Like that's rule number one. All right. So that's a little takeaway there for you. So finally got a hold of like 4 different companies, and some of them came out and some actually said, well, we can come out, but we're going to charge you $100 to come out. So then I was like, well, wait a minute here. I haven't even, why are you charging me to come, but anyway, whatever, that's their business model, whatever. Good, good for them. But what I did was I had 4 companies come out. And out of those 4 companies, one guy was really nice, but I didn't really think he knew his stuff. So again, if you're going to sell stuff, you got to know what you're selling, and you got to be able to answer the questions and not say, well, let me go check on that. You need to kind of know that stuff. But to kind of fast forward, I narrowed it down to this one guy. I liked him. He knew what he was talking about. He came up with a pretty nice design. He was willing to go back and forth with us a little bit. And then he kind of, handed it off to us and said, here's going to be the price. What do you think? And he was trying to put a little bit of pressure on me. And, I know about sales and stuff. And I says to him, give us, 24 hours to talk about it. My wife and I want to talk about it. So we did. And then he called right back the next day. And he's like, hey, just call him back. Just want to make sure, any questions I can answer for you. No problem. So we ended up going with that company, okay? Because the salesman sold me, okay? Good guy, liked the guy. We talked, again, he did a good job too. He came in, we talked about baseball, his son's in baseball. We had good stories to share. And that's salesmanship 101, is like, get to know the person you're selling to, make them feel as though you're interested in them, not just selling them something. And he genuinely did, and I genuinely wanted to share and all that stuff. So went with him, great. No, he would answer my texts back and forth if I had any questions. So we signed on the dotted line, we gave a deposit, we're ready to go. And now all we're waiting for is the permit to be pulled. So I kind of texted him and he didn't respond for a few hours. And then he said, oh, sorry, busy with a customer. No problem. And then finally he, contacted me back. I said, hey, we haven't heard anything on the permit. And he said, well, let me check on that. So he checks. And he goes, yeah, it's been submitted, but it may take a few days. No problem. So we waited a few days, didn't hear anything. I texted him, didn't get a response at all. So I said, okay, that's kind of strange. Let me just call their office, because they have someone in there that just does permit stuff. So I call, or my wife calls, and she gets the secretary, and the secretary on the phone basically sounded miserable. Like, okay, again, here's rule number 2. Don't have someone answer your phone that shouldn't be answering phones, or don't let someone answer an email that doesn't sound friendly. Like, do not do that. Like, it blows me away when I go to get coffee and you go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or any coffee shop or any business for that matter, and people are like, hey, can I take your order, please? You're like, no. Like, let's back up here. Hey, welcome to Dunkin' Donuts. How can I take your order today? Like, that's it. Like, upbeat. Hey, happy to greet you today. Happy to serve you today, right? So anyway, she was just annoyed that we're calling. And my wife's like, just calling about the permit, just wondering where that was. Let me check. So then she checks, comes back, it's, I'm not seeing it right now. So it must mean it's not ready yet. We'll call you when it is. And my wife says, this is our first time talking to you. My wife called her out. My wife is really, really nice, but you do not want to get on that other side of her, especially when you're paying a lot of money for something. And she says, it sounds like you are really, really upset and you're really not happy with your job. And the lady said, well, what do you mean by that? And then she said, well, I call and all I'm asking is a simple question. And this is our first time dealing with you guys. I would think that you would kind of like want to make us happy and also want to sound as though you're excited for us. We're buying a pool. We haven't even started yet. And she said, oh, no, I'm sorry. So then she kind of apologized lightly, but whatever. So that was our first taste. Right? So my wife's like, this is our first experience, our first little hiccup, and boom, we already got an issue. So not feeling good about it. So a little bit of time goes on. We get the permit. And now they say we're going to have our dig date. Well, they don't give us a date, but they go ahead and say that it's on the schedule. Okay, well, we want to know when it's on the schedule. So now I text my salesman again. Now, I soon found out that as soon as the salesman sells the job and signs it, it's handed off to someone else in their office. Now, this was not said, Scott. This is, now it's going to be in Tim's hands, and now you're going to be the one communicating with him. Like, that was not said, right? So again, communication problem. If you guys do not communicate with your customers, you are going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. Trust me, picking up the phone, answering emails, if they have a question, any of that stuff. I know this stuff seems super basic, but so many companies are not doing it, and I'm blown away by it. Blown away. I truly am. If I could go into a company and say, even this company, this pool company, I could go in there and probably consult with them and turn their business to where they're doing 75 pools to doing 150 pools if they would just do this. But maybe they don't want 150 pools. Maybe they're happy with doing the 75 pools. I don't know. All right. It just seems like they don't want that extra business because they're not doing it properly and they got too many hands in the mix. So anyway, we figure out who we're supposed to be dealing with. So I call Tim and I'm like, hey, Tim, just want to know, like, where are we on the schedule? Oh, wait a minute. Let me just back up a minute here. That's not right. That's not what happened. What happened was we called the office, talked to Grumpy, the secretary. She handed us off to the person that schedules. So now they got someone that just schedules. And then the scheduler said, let me look. I'm reaching out to Mike, who is actually the head general contractor kind of for the pool build. And so then from there, we've noticed now that we've got like this guy, Jim, who does the scheduling. We've got this other guy, Mike, who handles all of the subcontractors. But then there's a guy underneath him. His name is Tim, that actually does all of the going out to the job site and really running the crews. So there's this Mike guy that I don't even know why he's there. All right. Like, again, like, what does he do? That's a whole nother story. And I'll tell you why I've got a little bad taste in my mouth about him. But so we get on with Jim, and Jim kind of got frustrated with us because we're saying like, well, can't you just let us know when we're going to have a dig date? Like, it's been 2 weeks and we don't even have a dig date yet. And you guys are kind of leaving us up in limbo. And he's like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to call you at 12 o'clock at night? Like, that's exactly what he said to my wife. Now, my wife's on speaker. I'm there. Now I said, listen, Jim, number one, that's no way to speak to a customer. Number two, all we're asking is just for some communication. If you don't hear anything, we still want to call back to say, listen, I haven't heard anything yet. I'm still trying. We want to know that you're still trying. We don't want silence. So then he says, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hand you off to Mike. So now we meet Mike for the first time. Mike gets on. Hello, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, we told him the whole story. He's like, I'm not really sure what you want me to tell you. All I can tell you is we've submitted it and we haven't heard back yet. You want us to, call you tomorrow? I mean, I don't know what you want us to do. This is basically what these guys are saying. We have not even dug yet. We haven't even put the backhoe in the ground. We haven't even put the first scoop, or we haven't taken the first scoop out. Haven't even gotten to that point. So now I'm really annoyed. I'm really frustrated. And I says to him, I says, listen, Mike, I want to ask you something. This is the first time you've ever talked to me. First time ever talked to me. And we're already having these hiccups. Does it normally get better or does it normally get worse when you start like this? And this is exactly what he said to me. He goes, to be honest, it generally gets worse. He literally said to me, it generally gets worse. Now, wouldn't you think that he would say, hey, Mr. Volker, I just want to apologize. Yes, we should have communicated with that a little bit better. I'm going to do my best to get you an answer by the end of the day. But if I don't, I will definitely call you in the morning just to give you an update. Is that cool? Is that okay? Can I do that for you, Scott? I'd really, really, want to get this taken care of for you. So I'm going to go out and try to make some phone calls. But he did not do that. He basically just was annoyed and said, what do you want us to do? Call you if we don't have any information? Why would I do that? Why would I waste the time? That's basically what he was saying. So already he was annoyed. I said, you know what? Here's what I'm going to need you to do. I need you to get in touch with my salesman, have him actually call me back because I think I'm going to cancel this deal. That's exactly what I said. So from there, I instantly got a phone call from the salesman. Why? Because he's paid on commission. So now he calls me. Scott, what's going on? Well, number one, you didn't call me back. You didn't answer my text. Oh, sorry. I've just been really super busy and yada yada. You weren't too busy when I was going to sign the deal, right? When you were collecting the check, you weren't too busy there. Okay. So, and I said that to him and he goes, yeah, I know that's my bad. I should have, but what's the problem here? I mean, and this is what he said too. I got a lot of time, invested in doing your plans. And I go, I understand that, but I've got a lot of money going into this thing, buddy. And I got a lot of money going into this thing. And you're basically just handing me off to these guys, which these guys are really not communicating with each other. And I can't even get a dig date. And he goes, oh, your dig date? Oh, I can find that for you. Oh, you're scheduled for next Tuesday. So all of this didn't have to happen if they were all on the same page. And if, number one, they were nicer in that process. So now the day that we're going to come out and start painting where the pool is going to go, Mr. Mike shows up. Cocky Mike. He's a cocky guy too. He's one of those guys, if you've ever had a building inspector, and I'm from the building world, so anyone out there that's in the construction field or deals with inspectors or anything, you can get some that are really cool and you get some that they wear this thing like a badge and they just want to enforce and they want to show you that they got power and they want to just be, they want to be not nice, right? They want to just go out there and show their authority, really pump their chest, right? So he comes out chewing his gum. So imagine this guy comes up, got his cap on, he's got his shorts on with, his Dickie shorts, construction shorts kind of like, but he doesn't get dirty. He's just a neat looking guy. He's got his boots on with his socks just above it. You guys can get the visual, right? Chewing his gum, might have even had a toothpick hanging out of his mouth. And he shows up and he starts walking the property and he starts asking questions to Jeff, the guy that sold me the job. So now I'm sitting out there and he's not even really paying attention to me. He's asking Jeff all these questions. He's not talking to me. He's talking to him. I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm kind of over here, So anyway, we get out there and he's trying to find a way that it doesn't make sense to put the pool where they wanted to put it. So number one, I sat there right to him and I go, Mike, do you want to sell this job or do you want to do this job? Yeah. Why are you saying that? I'm like, because you haven't even addressed me while I'm here. You haven't even addressed me. And so then he goes and kind of goes, he didn't really say much. He, just said, oh, no, I didn't mean that. He tried to turn it around, but the guy can't even be nice if he wanted to. So he went down, made a phone call about something else. And I says to the other guy, Tim, who's below him, who actually does all of his work, which really, I don't think that guy Mike even needs to be there because Tim does all the work anyway. And I said to Tim, I go, Tim, nice to meet you and all, but if I got to deal with that guy, I don't want to do the deal. And he goes, let me just tell you right now, you're going to be dealing with me. Any questions you have, you deal with me. Don't worry. And you're right. Technically people shouldn't talk to him. I don't know why he's here. He shouldn't talk to customers. At his last job, he was, got in trouble for the way he talked to customers. So I don't know why this company would even hire him. Maybe they're friends of the family. I don't know. Okay. But this guy should not be talking to customers. Same thing in a restaurant business. If you're in a restaurant business, you have a greeter, and that greeter that's seating people is not happy and bubbly and welcoming, do not have them wait on people. Have them in the back doing dishes or prep, okay? It's just 101 business, guys, 101. So Anyway, I'm going to wrap up the story because I want to go on. There's a lot of other details too, but I'm just going to kind of get to the nuts and bolts here just so you guys can have some takeaways. But I went ahead and I said, okay, Tim, that sounds great, and then Tim has been phenomenal. If anyone should get a promotion, it should be Tim. Tim should be the lead guy. Mike should be fired. And Jeff should have, my salesman, he should have someone teach him more about customer experience, customer journey, to where he would make a phone call. I have not talked to him in over 8 weeks since we started this project, and that's no number one for him. He needs to contact me a week and a half after they dug. Hey, Scott, just checking in. How's everything going? It's going pretty good. Or maybe it's not going so good because of this. Let me make a phone call. I'm going to make sure that that's good for you because we want to make sure that you are totally happy and satisfied or any of your questions are addressed. He did not do that. He's out there just selling. Okay. But what he doesn't realize is that I am someone that you want to be happy, because even though you took my check and you cashed it, I'm going to be telling every single person about this. And yes, I'm not exploiting their company right now publicly with you guys. I'm not going to say like, if you guys live in South Carolina, North Carolina, don't use this company. I'm not saying that. I could, but I'm not. I'm going to tell everyone. I've already told probably 12 to 15 people that I come across, and they ask, who's doing the pool? Are you happy? No, I'm not happy with them. And here's why. Boom, 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 boom. I start listing them out. It's so fresh for me that when I hear about this, I kind of cringe a little bit, and I can't wait to tell people about it, right? Because the thing is, it's like this all could have been resolved, or this all could have been better if they just would have communicated better and had a better attitude. Like, that's all they needed. The workmanship has been okay. There's been a couple of issues here and there, but they took care of them, right? And the reason why they took care of them is because I got with Tim. Tim's the guy that makes sure that all the subcontractors do the right jobs. Or if there's something wrong, he gets them to come back to fix it. All of that stuff. So he's like the guy that makes everything happen. The salesman sells it. I guess the permit guy, that's all he does is submit permits all day. Then he shouldn't be talking to people. Okay? Mike, no idea what that guy does. Zero. I would sit down with that company and I would say, I want to know what everyone does here. And I want to know what that guy does right there. Because that guy right there is costing you, let's say he's costing you $100,000 a year. That's $100,000 you can put in your pocket or in the company's pocket. Get rid of that guy. You don't need the guy. There's no reason for him to be here. All right. So, all right. I'm not going to go on too much of a rant with Mike. Not a fan of Mike. And I'm sure he doesn't listen to the podcast, but if he did, I would definitely sit down with him and I would tell him exactly what I'm telling you guys, because I'm not happy with him. And I can't wait. I guess we're supposed to sit down with like the owner, which again, that's another rule. You should talk to the owner. The owner should be able to call. Hey, how's the experience so far? How's everything going? They're not calling because they don't want to hear. They just want to sell the next pool. And that's what I'm saying. Like, people could do so much better in business if they'd focus more on the people that they currently have, making them happy to spread the word. All right. So this turned into a little bit of a rant. And I apologize, but I hope that you can see with all of these little things, you really, really can change the game in your business, because so many people are doing it this way. And it's the wrong way. They're just looking about selling the next job, or selling the next product, Take care of the ones you have. They will help bring more customers. Okay. So here's what it looked like for me. The salesman sold me, then disappeared. Don't disappear. Okay. And the problems were from day one. And it went with the permit lady, with the lady, she was short and rude with my wife. Communication was bad on the dig. And then it continues to be bad unless I call, which now I've been just calling Tim about every day. And I literally call him. I'm like, hey, buddy, it's your best friend, Scott. How's it going, man? Oh, it's going all right. And he tells me about internal problems and stuff inside of the business, lack of communications, like all of this stuff. And, it's frustrating for him because there's nothing he can do about it, right? I mean, it's just, he's one guy. But attitude when asking questions, I got so much attitude. Why? Like, why give attitude? I understand you might be understaffed. That's not my problem, but I'm a customer. I don't deserve attitude. All right. And again, just you have to realize that when you're dealing with a company of this size, it can be run smoother, but a lot of times it gets out of control. So when you think to yourself, I want to scale and I want to sell more products, I want to get to a bigger level, think about this stuff. Because if you went from like a single person running a business to 12 people, you're going to have problems unless you have a process in place. And you need to have almost like your company policy on how your customer's journey will be. Map out that customer journey. And really, it should be even with the salesman. Part of your job as a salesman is to sell the job and then to follow up a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, and so on. Like that should be in that process. All right. So anyway, that's that. All right. I didn't plan on going that long on the pool story, but that's that. And I'll kind of keep you posted on the latest of that saga because we're not completely done yet. It's been about 10 weeks and we're just wrapping up now. And today the plaster guys are supposed to be coming as I'm recording here. So we'll see. All right, let's jump into this one here. Okay. And this is a good story. This is a happy story for the most part because part of it was of one of the businesses I dealt with was not so good, but the one did really good. And this is about Brody. Recently, if you guys follow my emails that I send out, or maybe it's the Facebook post or wherever, Instagram, I posted about this, but we had a really big scare with Brody. We thought he was having seizures, and it ended up that he wasn't having seizures. He was having severe back and neck pain. He had a ruptured disc that we didn't know about. We immediately rushed him. Before we knew this, we thought he was having seizures. We rushed him that day my wife did actually, and called me, rushed him to a local vet, and they didn't have any space. They didn't even have anybody on staff that could help him. So they asked us to go to the emergency center. We started actually going that way. And then I said to my wife, I go, did you feed him lunch? And she goes, oh my gosh, like, I don't think I did. And I'm thinking maybe he's weak. Maybe he's having like a reaction to that. Let's get some food in him and see if that helps. So we did. And it did kind of help for the time being. The following morning, woke up, he seemed a little sluggish. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's like he had one of those seizure things again. And what it seemed like he was like, he would lay almost flat and like lock up and literally just shake. And it was scary. And so anyway, we picked him up. We rushed him to our local vet, a different local vet, not that far from us. And they got us in immediately, like 7 o'clock in the morning, seen us right away. It was an emergency call. And the vet, looked at everything. All his vitals were great. He wasn't having a seizure at this time, or that we thought. He wasn't having one of those spells, but he wasn't himself. And so she goes, I do notice though that when I take his neck and I move it to the one side, he resists a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. She goes, I'm thinking it could be something in the brain it could be epilepsy. It could be something like that. So I think we should have an MRI done. And from there, they can tell a little bit more of what's going on. There's a emergency hospital that's about 30 minutes away. I would take him there. I can see if they got someone on staff and we can get him in right away. I said, perfect. So we checked out. And these guys were so phenomenal, so friendly. The vet was so friendly, but then they had like one of the vet's assistants come in, and she was rubbing his head and talking to him, and just really they cared. They truly cared, and it showed so much through just their actions. All right. So we're getting ready to check out, and they got us all lined up with the appointment. We're getting ready to go, and I had to pay the bill. And I'm thinking to myself, it's gonna be $100 at least. It's an emergency visit, right? It was $54. So I'm like, holy crap, that's pretty good. So we thanked them. They said, let us know how everything goes. We'll check in with you later, but just good luck. And he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be great. Just you just got to get that MRI done. We're like, okay. So we rush him up to the emergency room. We go in. This is a bigger place now. This is a bigger place, busy. We go in. It's pretty organized though. They got people on the front of the waiting room area that are taking people in. And then they have a checkout area where they take, when you're picking up your dog or if you're leaving. So two different areas. They got like welcoming you in and then, taking all your information and getting you set up. And then the other one is kind of like out the door, right? So two different types of checkouts or check-ins, checkouts, whatever you want to call it. So different people, right? There's like 3 people on the front, 3 people on the back. And I'll tell you why that's important here in a second. So we're out there in the waiting room. We get our stuff all filled out, checked out and everything. And then he started to have like one of those fits again. So they looked over at us and we kind of signaled them and they go, is he having one? And we said, yeah. So they immediately came out, picked him right up. They were great, picked him right up, brought him in the back room. And then about 10 minutes goes by. They said, come on in. We went in and they said, we got him in the back and everything. And, what we seen didn't look like it was a seizure. And then they started going through like, what did you see? What were the signs? And we told them everything and they go, yeah, we don't think it's a seizure. Sometimes what we see is severe back pain or neck pain. And it seems like his neck is bothering him. in a sense. And we're like, wow, really? And then we started to put things together. We remember like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, he had a little bit of a limp and we didn't know why. We didn't know if he tripped on something, did whatever. He had a little bit of a limp and, we didn't think nothing of it. Not terrible. It was just like a little bit of a limp, but then it went away. And then once or twice, my son picked him up, said, hey, buddy, what's going on? And he yelped. And we're like, oh, that's kind of strange. What did I do? Didn't do anything. So then it started to make sense that he must have had some back pain, but not severe at that time, right? It was kind of like something that was probably nagging at him. And then now it just kind of, it got worse, which it did. They go, so what we're going to do is we're going to do an MRI. And then from there, if we see that it's a ruptured disc or some other type of issue in the back or the neck, we're going to want to probably immediately operate on. And we're like, okay, that's what we're going to have to do then, And oh, by the way, the cost is going to be between $5,000 and $6,000. Holy crap, right? But it's my kid, right? Like I'm not going to not do that. So I'm fortunate enough that it didn't faze me. I'm like, okay, whatever we got to do, let's do it. So they said it was going to take about an hour. So my wife and I went over, got a coffee, just kind of talking and all that stuff. And, we're upset. We had some tears and, we had some emotions going and everything. So we just love that dog so much. And then we get a phone call and they said, yep, confirmed. We ran the MRI and sure enough, it's a ruptured disc. And the way that they explain it to us, it's like kind of like a jelly donut in between your discs or in between your vertebrae. And then that actually cushions it. And what happens is it kind of like the jelly kind of leaks out. It kind of squishes. And then that part of the part of the disc is actually putting pressure on the spinal cord. And I looked up pictures and stuff online. I'm like, holy crap, that looks terrible. So that's what it was. So he was having all this pressure on his spinal cord up by the neck. So we're like, okay, whatever. So you got to do what you got to do. So anyway, yeah. So we went ahead and said, go for it. Do it, right? And they said it's going to take about an hour to an hour and a half. So we started heading home because they said he was going to probably stay for 2, maybe 3 days. And because it's a major surgery. So we ended up going back home. We got a phone call an hour and a half later, said the surgery was successful. Everything went well. He's in recovery. He's kind of doped up a little bit, but he's doing fine. And he made it through. So boom, that's awesome. Great. Like we were nervous as heck. And so anyway, it was good all kind of up to that point. But then we got the phone call that night at 5:00, and they were very short, very, very short. Now we just had major surgery on a child of ours in a sense, right? And you would think they'd spend a little bit more time. Okay. But they just kind of said, here's what happened. Here's how he's doing. We'll call you tomorrow morning and we'll let you know if he can come home. And we're like, oh, I thought you said he had to stay 2 days. Like, no, he can probably come home tomorrow as long as his vitals and everything are good. Like, okay. So we go through the night. Actually, let me back up. My wife goes, so what else did they say? And I'm like, they didn't really say much. So I said to my wife, I go, we got to call him back. So my wife calls him back, talks to the vet, and we get a little bit more story, but we had to call back. So that was kind of not sitting right with us. We're kind of feeling like we're just a number. And it wasn't like they really were about the dog. It was about the procedure, about the money, about the business. It wasn't like it was in the vet that we took him to in the first place. But these guys are specialists. This is what they do. If they fix my dog, I'm cool, right? I don't need that, but it doesn't mean I'm going to recommend them to everyone either. But it's kind of like they kind of got you because there's not a ton of people that are doing this. Okay, so we end up talking to the vet. They made us feel good about the procedure and what to expect and all that stuff. So now the next morning we get a call from the main vet, the surgeon, and he gives us all the details. He was really good actually. But he said, we're gonna let him go home today if you're okay with that. And I'm kind of thinking, okay, but I'm kind of thinking, sounds like you probably should have kept him an extra day, but we do want him. So, okay. So we go there, we meet with them and it was the surgeon and the vet and one of their assistants. And we talked to them. They asked any questions. They were really good, but still kind of short, to be honest with you. I thought that they would have spent a little bit more time. Here's where it gets a little not so good. We bring him home and he really shouldn't have went home. we were talking to a vet friend of ours that used to live where we used to live in New York. We were really good friends with them. And they said, that's a major surgery. He should have stayed another night so they can monitor him, give him, a little bit more of an extreme dose of the pain medicine because he's going to be in pain. And we found that out in the middle of the night. Middle of the night, he was in extreme pain. We had to call the emergency number. We did, and they were helpful, but really not, and it just felt like there was a huge disconnect from the time that he was diagnosed and the time he had his surgery to now the follow-up and the after of, the surgery. So we got through the night. We really were asking if we can give him another dose of his medicine so we didn't overdose him. And they said yes, we did that. Me and my wife slept on the couch with him the whole night. We were rubbing him and just comforting him and everything. And he got through the night. And then the next day we called again and they basically just reiterated. Actually, let me take that back. We called our vet locally and talked to them about the story, and they told us that we could take something else. So we went in and got something else that could be taken in between the pain meds. And again, they were really great and just, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that they were able to find it. I'm so glad that he's fixed and everything and, keep us posted. And then literally that night, the vet themselves from that office, the good office, the one that we originally went to, she called personally and just wanted to see how he's doing. If there's anything they can do, bring him in. Don't ever hesitate. And, could you give Brody a great big hug for us here from the office? They genuinely cared. And again, I don't want to go into, this whole long story about like how awesome they are, but they really were. And the thing is they understand, whether they know it or not, they understand that we are a long-time customer. So understand this. I want you guys to take this away from these stories that I've shared with you today, is that you have people that might be buying your widget or your one thing, but understand that person can talk about you and they can come back and buy from you again, whether it's you or someone else. Now, for us, I know that we're going to probably spend thousands of dollars over the course of our time here at our new location. I mean, we may be here the next 20 years, the next 30 years. I don't know. But while we're here, we will be doing all of his checkups, any of his shots, anything that we have issues with or that we need help with as far as our pets. In this case, it's Brody right now. We're going to bring him there. So they have our business. Like, we are locked in. Like, we are totally locked in. Now, the other part of that, which is going to be like a side effect of this or a side benefit, is that we're going to tell everyone that we know about their business, about how good they are, how much they care about their pets. I mean, if you're a pet owner, you want to know that you're dropping off your pet or you're bringing your pet to someone that genuinely wants to help these animals. Now, I'm not saying that at the big facility that they don't want to take care of your pet. They do, but they're so probably understaffed and they don't have the people in place to do that. So they need to get that in check and then figure that out. It's as simple as them having someone that is designated to just make phone calls on your behalf or on their behalf to communicate to you and make sure that everything is okay. If you have any questions, let us know. We have still not gotten a phone call from the place that did the surgery, the hospital. We have not gotten a phone call from them other than the day after he got home. Like, that was it. Like, that is it. So it's a major, major surgery, as we were told by our friends that ran a veterinarian hospital. So, I think that there can be things put in place for that business that could do a better job. And I'm not sure if it's just us or if other people have felt that. I'm sure that other people probably have, because it's not just us. Now, the other thing is, and this is like another little side note, but in that facility, in that hospital facility, we actually had to go and pay, right? Well, we went to the front where we initially came in and they go, no, you can go around to the back and that's where you'll kind of do that stuff. We're like, okay, fine. So we went back there and there was one lady back there and she basically didn't pick her head up to look at us or anything. And here we are, we just had major surgery. We're feeling like, just stressed and just not good. And she was kind of miserable and she was like, can I help you? And we're like, yeah, we're here to, basically settle up for, Brody's surgery. And she's like, okay. And my wife says, is this where we're supposed to pay? She goes, well, you can pay wherever there's a body, kind of thing. Like anyone that's here, you can go to them and they can check you out. Kind of like, not just me. Why wouldn't she just say, yeah, absolutely, I can help you? And I hope so much that Brody's doing better, or that he does well, or he recovers well, or, oh, what kind of did he have? Oh, I see, he had Baxter. Oh, wow, that's like just some compassion. This lady was totally a bookkeeper type lady. So you know what? She doesn't belong out talking to people. It's the same thing with the guy in the pool company. He doesn't belong talking to people. He might be good at something, but he's not good at talking to people. So remove him from that part of his job description. Same thing with the lady here with doing the bills. Do not talk to people. Just collect the money some other way, or do something else in the bookkeeping or data entry or whatever. Not a people person. So anyway, understand that, and the big takeaway here, and I'm gonna kind of stop here, is understand that people that are buying from you are customers that can buy from you again, but can also tell people about you. And that is the best form of advertising that you will ever do. Okay. And it might not come today. It may come a month from now or a year from now. The other thing is, these people can share you on Facebook. They can share you on Instagram. They can share you on YouTube. They can share you all over the place. Wherever they're having conversations, they're going to be talking about you. I'll give you an example. We have it's a forum for our neighborhood. And I think a lot of people have them. It's called Nextdoor Site. And everyone kind of has these forums in their communities. Well, that's how we find a lot of the people that do work for us, or maybe a vet or whatever. We're going to go on there and rave about these people. Now, the ones that are going to go on there, they're going to rave about, or not rave about, the people that didn't do a good job for them. They're going to do that too, because they want to let people know, don't go here. They're miserable. I hate going there. They make me feel like they don't care about my pet, my animal, whatever. Or the restaurant was terrible. They didn't, they took them 40 minutes to come out and ask me what I wanted to drink. Like whatever, like that stuff there on social media now can crush your business, or it can blow your business up. So just really understand, there's so much power in just communicating with your customers and understanding that they can come back to you and buy again and again and again, or they can share their experience with other people. They can tell other people and bring more business. So simple, but so many people miss it. So many people. All right, one last quick story I'm going to share with you, and that's on a barbecue restaurant that we go to all the time. And this is going to be really short, but it's going to reiterate the same thing. We go to this one place probably, I don't know, once every other week, and we love it. It's great barbecue restaurant. And we go in there and we get, greeted by, the hostess, and she sits us down, and, very happy, great, smiling, small talk, everything perfect. We go to the table, we get our waitress or our waiter. Every single one that we've had there so far has been awesome. Okay. So someone's running this place right off the bat. Okay. And then from there, as we're eating, this has happened just about every time we've been there, the manager comes around and says, "How was everything tonight, folks?" And we usually say, "Awesome." Or, "I just got to let you know." And I said this to him. I go, "Your waiter has been phenomenal. Like that person right there, you need to have other people model him." And we've had other people too, but this guy is really good. Just so personable and just likable and funny and all that stuff. And he said, "Oh, thanks so much." He goes, "Yeah, we really do take a lot of pride in our waiters and waitresses." And I said, "Well, and I got to tip my hat to you." I go, "Because honestly, you're coming around and asking how we are doing and if there's anything that they can do better, whatever you want to know." And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I think that just builds our business better, because we're actually showing people that we want to do right by them. And if there's something wrong, I don't want you to leave and be unhappy. I want you to leave and say, there was a problem, but they fixed it and they went out of their way to fix it." But so many people don't want to ask that question, because why? They don't want them to say, "Yeah, actually my hamburger was undercooked," or my, beef brisket was tough, whatever, right? They don't want to hear that, but he wants to hear it. He's welcoming that. And you know what? Out of 10 tables, he might receive one of those comments, but the 9 people that they say, "Wow, that's pretty awesome that this guy comes around and asks how everything was," or the one person that says, "Yeah, my fries were a little, old." "No problem. Let me take care of that for you. Let me grab you, some new ones. And you know what? Let me give you a free dessert on the house." Right? Like simple stuff like that goes so far. But, he's doing it right, and they're packed and they've got a great business going. So that's how you do it. All right. So bottom line is this, guys. I got a couple of takeaways here, actually a few. Communicate with customers. Tell them if you're going to be late or maybe you're going to be delayed on something, or even if you see that you have a message come through and you can't actually answer it fully, tell them, hey, I received your message. I'm going to get back to you tomorrow when I have more time to look into this. Just wanted to let you know that I did see it and we are working on it. Like something like that. Just let them know. Don't avoid it. A big thing there. Questions, if they have questions, answer them as soon as possible. Don't let that stuff sit. That's emails or questions from Amazon customers, your regular emails from regular customers on maybe Shopify or your e-commerce store. But really respond as soon as possible. Address any issues as soon as possible. If they have a problem, don't question it. Don't make them jump through hoops. Just send them a new one. Like just literally send them a new thing, or maybe an extra coupon to say, sorry for the inconvenience. It's kind of like getting that free dessert, right? Here's the free product. We're going to give you guys another one, and we're going to give you 25% off your next purchase, just because we want to make sure that you're happy, right? Like people want to know, how do I get reviews on Amazon? That's how you over deliver. All right. So ask if they are happy. It's another one. And if they're not happy, fix it. And the way that you do this is you follow up with them in your follow-up sequence, whether that's on Amazon or on your own e-commerce site. Ask them if they are happy, and if not, fix it. Hey, was everything okay when you received it? Was there any issues? Is there anything we can help you with? We want to make sure that you're completely happy, because we really value our customers. Like, just that's it. And you're going to be surprised at what you get back on that. And then the last thing is really just be nice to people and over deliver. It's really simple. Just understand that one person that bought from you is a person and not just a number. All right. That person is someone that bought because they needed your product. They wanted your product, but now for you to go over and beyond by just communicating with them goes so far, because most businesses aren't doing it. All right. So I know I went on a little bit of a rant there today, a little bit of storytelling, but hopefully you guys got value from this, and just to kind of let you guys know that I'm always paying attention to this stuff, and you guys should be too. You guys should be grading your waiters and waitresses, and if they're doing a good job, let them know. Like, recognize that stuff. Those guys love it. I had a girl the other day I was at Dunkin' Donuts for the first time in a long time, and I got a coffee, and this lady was just so awesome at the window, and she was so energetic and bubbly, and I just said to her, I just got to let you know, you're doing an awesome job greeting people and getting their orders, and Dunkin' Donuts should be proud to have you as an employee. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, she was so happy that I let her know that I made her day. Like, so do that. Like right now, that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to pay attention to people that you're doing business with. And I want you to also let people know that are doing an amazing job and call that stuff out. You will make someone's day. I promise you. All right. It feels pretty good. All right. So guys, reminder, the show notes, theamazingseller.com/431. And don't forget this stuff, guys. Pretty easy stuff, but really, really super powerful. All right, guys. So that's it. That's going to wrap it up. Remember, as always, I'm here for you. I believe in you, and I am rooting for you. But you have to. Come on, say it with me. Say it loud. Say it proud. Take action. Have an awesome, amazing day, and I'll see you right back here on the next episode.